I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. And just call on me, darling, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So just call me when you need a friend. Call me when you need a friend. Call me. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to your neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation. My name is Susanne Maziarz. I'm here in my office at 310 Danforth, and I have your announcements for the coming week. Ongoing things happening at Neighborhood. Every Wednesday evening from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m., Rev Wayne and Jillian Heggie host a meditation. This is on Zoom and also offered hybrid for beginners and intermediates. We continue to support Club Sandwich, which accepts your sandwiches to give to hungry local people. You can drop them off at MCC on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Talk to me for more information. Until December 15th in the neighborhood galleries, we're showing Chris Emanuel's Love is Love series. If you'd like to come in and see it, call our office to arrange a time. And until Christmas, just outside our building, you can buy a Christmas tree to support the Out of the Cold program. They're just on the east side of our building on Jackman. Talent Night is happening Friday, December 3rd from 7:30 to 9-ish p.m. All ages and talents are welcome to perform and share for our supportive audience, hosted by MC Allison in the Music Zoom. And note that this will be our last Friday Talent Night on Zoom. In the new year, we will start hosting in-person talent nights on the first Saturday of the month. The 8th principle. Canadian UUs voted to pass the 8th principle at the CUC special meeting yesterday. That principle is individual and communal action that accountably dismantles racism and systemic barriers to full inclusion in ourselves and our institutions. A thank you goes out to our delegates Deb, Patty, and Tara Rose for representing Neighborhood at the meeting. Now the real work begins, everyone. And now a special announcement from Rev Wayne.
Hello, everyone. I think that this will be the last mindful journey that I have connected with neighborhood. It's a mindful journey to Tuscany. On the mindful journeys that we do, it's always a combination of meditation and reflection, as well as wonderful food, seeing all the sights, and really making new friends and getting to know new places. If there's any interest, just please ask Hala, our office manager, or myself. Thank you.
The breakout room question for after service today is, sometimes friends can become a chosen family. Do you have a chosen family? Enter, rejoice, and come in. Next week, join us in person or via Zoom for our second hybrid service, which will be our water ceremony next Sunday, December 5th. We will have 80 chairs set up for the congregation. All are welcome. And a special announcement from our president, Allison Kabayama.
There we go. Good morning. Thank you, everyone. It is November the 28th, and we have today after service our general meeting to elect our new board and our new nominating committee chair. So I hope that you will stay online after service so you can be registered if you're a member so that you can vote. And the meeting itself will begin at 12:30 and we should be done by 2. Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to our Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist congregation on Zoom as we transition between live and virtual services. As I'm sure you all know, we are planning another hybrid service for next Sunday. Hopefully I will be able to attend next week to greet many of you in person. My name is Kurt Thomsen. I'm a member of this congregation, and I am your service weaver this morning. Our music director, Susanne Maziarz, and our minister, the Reverend Wayne Walder, are both at our new home at 310 Danforth. Our director of child and caregiving program, Zee Getchell, will be offering a time for all ages from his home. And I offer a very special welcome to Christina Keel, who for the first time in a very long time will be helping to offer a joining ritual. We also have Mike Kosowski, who is doing the web hosting duties. Special thanks to each and every one of them. Just some Zoom etiquette. Please keep yourselves muted unless called upon. Keep your chat open for messages and lyrics. And please refrain from sending chat messages to everyone in the same way we wouldn't talk out during service. However, messages about not being able to hear what's being said or other technical issues are appreciated. If you are having trouble reading the chat messages, you can press Control+ on a PC and Command+ on a Mac to enlarge the text. We also have closed captioning, so just go to the bottom menu on your screen to activate that. This service is being recorded for YouTube and our website. Joys and concerns and other such personal moments will be edited out. If you do have privacy concerns, please turn off your camera and mute yourselves. Now, with this out of the way, we are now in our threshold moment. Please turn off any distracting apps and turn your device to do not disturb and be present. As we light our chalice, you are welcome to light your own chalice or form your hands into the form of a. And please join the choir while we sing our chalice invocation.
We light this chalice to remember, to light the fire within our own hearts.
And now for our prelude. Suzanne, would you kindly introduce this, please?
Sure, I will, Kurt. Thank you. We made this, I'm just going to switch back to gallery view so I can see you all. There we go. We made this video, the Spirit Choir made this video about a year and a few months ago, the last time we met in person to learn music and to sing together in the parking lot of Hiawatha. So it's a delight to play it today after our most recent iteration. We sang carols on Queen Street yesterday, the first time the choir has been able to sing together live in person. We look forward to going back into in-person singing in January with our new singers' masks. And a bit about the song. Today we're talking about chosen family. And I consider both the Spirit Choir and the folks of the congregation at Neighborhood, UU, my chosen family. This song starts with the lyric, "We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round and tend these fires." And in this video, you'll see the choir circled round our own chalice, tending the fire of hope, of our faith. I hope you enjoy "We Shall Be Known" by Ma Muse. Thank you.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to be in love. In this great turning we shall learn to be in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time. this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Good morning. At this time, most of us are at this service viewing it from our own homes, on the lands of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Mississauga, and now joined by the Métis and Inuit nations, who have chosen to make the land, the air, the water, and all the other animals that share it with us to be part of their chosen family. Maybe if we had done this sooner, we might not be in such a turmoil with our planet at this moment in time. The theme for this month is coming home. And our minister, Wayne Walder, will be discussing the idea of chosen family. Some of you may know that when I was little, I got sent to a blind school, boarding school for about 10 years, only going home on weekends and holidays. So this really strained my relationship with my birth family. And outside of really superficial things, my family really didn't get to know me, and I didn't really get to know them very well. So through much of my life, I've had to make efforts, many unsuccessfully, to create a chosen family. And thankfully, with this community, I've been able to do so. Which brings me to the reading for today by Jen Dickey, The Essence of Love, Chosen Family. The members of my chosen family offer me a gift by being present and giving me their unconditional love. They support me and they cheer on the inner and outer changes that are going on within my life. They reach out and ask me what I need. They call me on my belief system and know that my love language is food, which I never turn down. And they're always willing to sit with me and hold me as I cry, because sometimes I just want to be reassured that everything is all right. At this moment, we would usually ask you to turn to your neighbor and greet them. So please turn your view to gallery view, unmute yourself, and say hello. And in about 30 to 40 seconds, we'll ask you to mute.
Morning.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hello, it's so nice to
Morning,
meet you
Ellen.
all.
Terry.
Hi, Michael.
Terry.
Hi,
Hey.
Dolly.
Terry.
Hi,
Susanna.
Hey,
Hello,
Elaine.
Lisa.
Hi, Gail. Hi,
Hi,
George.
Hi, Tyrone.
Everyone.
Hi,
John.
Nancy.
Gordon.
Dina.
Terry.
Morning, Susan.
John.
Hi, Tony. Hi, Helen.
Wonderful.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, Susan.
Hi,
Peter.
Hi,
David, Lauren.
Hi, John.
Hey, Luann.
Hi, Christina. Hi,
Claudia.
John.
Hi, Adela.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Dee.
Hi, Nate.
Hi, John.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, Natalie.
Hi,
Hi,
Don.
Hi.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
At Neighborhood, our mission is to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. So now, if you are willing and able, please read with me our opening words, which will be projected on our screens. If you are on a phone and do not know the words, just listen and appreciate. Let us cast a circle of a sacred space here. Let us cast a circle of a cherished space here, a space of safety, a place of forgiveness, a place of love. If we want the world to change, we must craft in our space and in ourselves the seeds that grow a different kind of life, a life of graciousness, of creative intelligence, a place of life and spirit for ourselves and our families. And now, as we hold this place open to grace and insight, I invite all the young in body and in heart to come closer to the screen, because Zach's got something in his magic bag to show you. Sorry, Zee has something in his magic bag to show you.
Good morning, everyone. So today we're talking about family, but we're not really talking about the family that you were born with, your moms, your dads, your siblings. We're instead going to be talking about the families you build, the family you choose. Because make no mistake, we all choose our own families, and we start from a very young age. It starts with our friends and grows into our partners, and those friends that stay close enough to be called siblings. I'll never forget my first experience with choosing family. It all started when I was 7 or 8 years old. We were having a garage sale, and I was sitting outside selling some of my old things. I was learning about money and had priced some of my old toys and books that I didn't really care about anymore myself. At one point, a grown-up lady came up to me and asked to see what I was selling. I showed her some of my Franklin the Turtle books, which I had priced out at about 25 cents each. Well, this woman insisted they were worth a whole $1 each and bought 4 of them. Well, that stuck in my head, and when I told my friends about it a few days later, they knew who she was. They said her name is Wanda and that she lived just a couple houses away. I insisted on going to thank her for being so generous with me during my garage sale. So we did, and she offered us some drinks, and we all ended up sitting on her porch and hanging out and talking for hours. It didn't take long until Wanda was almost another parent to all of us kids on the block. She taught us old games that she used to play as a kid, like Leggies, which is a game that you play with a group of friends, a super rubber ball, and just a slanted ledge. She would get our whole group together for every one of our birthdays, and we'd all celebrate together. We'd have movie nights at her house, and she would open her doors to us when those times when we got locked out of our homes or when we felt we had nowhere else to go. Eventually, while growing up, we found out that Wanda was choosing us as family just as much as we were choosing her. You see, Wanda had had a daughter for almost 30 years before she met all of us. Unfortunately, she was born with a fully grown liver and didn't survive to be a kid. When we were old enough, Wanda told us about her daughter and brought us to see her grave. And I realized that all of the parental love that Wanda had been holding inside her for years finally had a focus in this group of random kids from the block. That's when we added a yearly trip to her grave with our birthday celebrations. In my late teen years, Wanda moved out of the city, and I was very sad. I felt like I'd lost a safe space because I'd spent so much time with her. But I hadn't. We stayed in touch, and our whole group would go out to see her, or sometimes we'd take it in turns. And I'd also learned how to choose my family. Nowadays, my family is chosen and filled only with people who support, love, and help each other as best they can. When we mess up, we do mess up, and we come back and do better next time. So I strongly encourage all of you, while choosing your families, to choose those people who love, support, and care for you as much as you do for them. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. This is a time in our community where we come together to welcome new members. Of course, any organization needs new members to be able to grow and thrive. So today we have a couple new members, and anyone else who might want to be a member. I wonder if you would put your hand up, and Zach, that Mike will call on you to become a new member and to do this little ceremony that we have together. It's a very simple thing, becoming a member. It's just really being able to say who you are, to join all of us in being able to spiritually grow, be able to care for our world, and be able to learn some new skills. And somehow to be able to, like Zach had said, to really be part of a beginning family, like of faith people. So I wonder if I could ask Christina Keel, our membership chair, to be spotlit too. And Christina, could you call people up?
Hello, everyone. I'd like to call up Bruce Lynn and Natalie Zand. And could you just raise your hands to acknowledge that I've called you, and you'll be spotlit.
Now, Mike, do you have anyone else who might have risen their hands?
Currently not, but they might want to join after this ceremony.
Okay. So I wonder, Bruce and Natalie, if you would be willing to tell us a little bit about yourself, or maybe about the journey that got you here with us. And maybe one of you could start, and then after they're finished, the other one of you could start, and I will let you decide which one of you goes first.
Sure. You want me to go first? Okay. She's often pushing me out in front, so here, you go first. I mean, it's a story that I think started consciously around 12 years ago or so, when I was in the midst of a crisis, personal crisis, and went looking for help for that crisis, and found an elder and a circle of community, and in this case, an Indigenous lodge, and was the first time I started to experience, the presence of the sacred, and to experience the sort of deep connection that one can feel when people around you commit to be honest and caring with one another. And once I had experienced that, I kept looking for it in my life, and I found it in various places. But in finding NUC, I found a community that really pulls together a few things that matter to me, and they're really two primarily, which is one is a commitment to my own growth, and a commitment I see a commitment in the part of the people in the community to their own growth, and I resonate with that. And I also see a commitment on the part of people in the community to making the world a better place, and I really resonate with that. And I like the connection that I see expressed in the community. And so I thought, okay, I've been looking for a circle of community for some time. This seems like a place where I can feel at home, and so choosing to join the congregation.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie.
I'm totally unprepared for this. There are a lot of things I could say. So I think for me personally, I have looked for a spiritual community for a long time, and been in quite a number of them. But wasn't in one when Bruce and I met. And a few years ago, we started talking about how it would be good for both of us to be in a spiritual community and contributing to that together. And we made a kind of short list, and somehow, NUC was on the list, and somehow that was the one that we ended up exploring first. And I think we both felt quite at home. It felt like a really good fit, a good alignment for both of us. For me, I call it the Church of Human Rights, Democracy, and ecological sustainability. And those are all the things that I devote my time to in the rest of my life. And it's also about, supporting each other's spiritual journeys, whatever those might look like. And one of the issues I've had is that it's been hard for me. My spirituality has been very eclectic, and it's been hard for me really to espouse any kind of dogma or any kind of notion that we have the truth and the way. I think there are many truths and many ways, and something that resonates for me in this community is that there's room for all of those ways, for all of the forms that truth telling might take, and an acknowledgement that all of them touch into the same core, the same essence of life. And so that really feels in alignment for me. And I also really, I love how distributed the leadership is here. A lot of my life is about supporting participatory and collaborative and co-creative work. And I really see that manifested in this community. So, and that's a common value, I think, that Bruce and I have. So just, feels like the right thing to do for us.
Yeah, everything Natalie said could be my speech too. So thanks for expressing it so nicely.
Thank you.
I would just like to point out that Chris Emmanuel has his hand up. I'm just going to spotlight him. Chris, you might just have to start your video.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
No
Hello,
problem.
everyone.
Hello.
Hi. Well, I don't think I've officially become a member, but I think I've already been a member for a long time. And this is probably the official thing. You probably know a lot about me already. Probably some of the things you don't know is I was raised in a family of ministers. It goes back 5 generations of people being ministers, from Catholic priests to mystics. As a young boy, I used to minister in a church at 12 years old. I would be called to the podium to speak about becoming a Christian. And my father, who was a mystic and a psychologist, had so many books, and I read them all by like 12. I was in his library. So I was steeped in different theology from a young boy. I never went to theology school, but I was also a minister in a Christian church for a year when I lived in Belize. So I guess it's kind of like I was born into this, and it was, they say you come in with certain talents. I think this was one of my talents that I was given, and I go forward, and I still do a lot of, I am a floating minister for a lot of places. What I like about, I've bounced around in a lot of faiths and learned a lot. I was when I was in my teens, my adopted father, who was a Jewish man, but very steeped in the Kabbalah, taught me a lot about the Jewish mysticism. And my first relationship was a native, or I should say she was, I can't remember what indigenous group she was with, but she taught me so much about the indigenous way of life as well. So I was very fortunate about that. And then my grandfather taught me a lot about the African culture and ways and religion. So like I said, through the process of life, I was steeped in different understanding, and I spent a lot of time in Belize. I was also shepherded and ministered, not ministered, but also sort of taken on the wing by a Buddhist monk who I studied with a lot of the Hindu and Eastern philosophies. So I guess I went to school in a different way. And thus I have found that UU sort of represents a lot of the principles, I believe. I was initiated as an interfaith minister, which believes is that there's a thread of truth in every belief. and to understand the commonality is the true genius of spirituality. And so that's why I've come to UU, because UU has given the space for individuals to find within themselves the divine spark, that which is inherent in every human being and can only be experienced through, I believe, personal experience. We can point a way, but they have to find the seeds and nourish them. And I believe UU does this. So I am very happy for this community that I've found, by chance, actually, not on purpose, but through the experience of just following the path. And I love all the people here, and I'm happy to be part of the community. Yeah, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris and Natalie and Bruce. I'm wondering if we can all kind of do a little meditation here as we hear a video that Susanne and the choir have put together. That
Oh, Wayne, we have to do
Yes.
the
Oh, right.
affirmation first.
The affirmation first. Thank you, Christina. Can you do it with us?
Sure. Okay, I'll ask Natalie and Bruce and the entire congregation to, we're going to recite the affirmation together. And muted, right? Okay. I endeavor to follow Neighborhood's mission to empower spiritual growth and shared action for the care of our world. I also promise to craft a spiritual life, live our 7 principles, and share my time, money, and abilities to strengthen our congregation.
I just want to add there's 8 principles now, so we'll have to revise that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
As
just
of
today.
last night.
So we're good with all 8. So we'll just affirm that too.
Sure.
Wonderful. So Susanne, I wonder, or Mike, if you can start the video, and then if you can just kind of maybe hold a hand on your heart. And then at the very end, we can hold a hand out, kind of welcoming these new wonderful members and also each other into a renewed form of membership.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you.
maybe now, if you can, hold a hand out in acceptance and welcome to each other. And somehow, in whatever way you can, promise to craft a spiritual life to yourself and to each other. Promise to live our 8 principles for yourself and each other. And share the resources that you have, your time and your energy and your abilities and your money, to strengthen the family that we create together. And know that we join you as you join us. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
This is a very special time in our service where you're welcome to light a candle of a joy or a concern in your life. Then I offer this final candle for all the joys and concerns that remain silent in our own hearts. Now I invite Wayne forward for our message. Thank you.
William James was a 19th century philosopher. He was arguably the first psychologist as well. He was famous even in his time and was born to a life of affluence because his family had money and status. His brother was Henry James, the author. Their family was famous for at least 2 generations. These days, we might say they were privileged. Maybe lucky is as good a word. What many do not know is that James was depressed for most of his life. He suffered greatly through his 20s and 30s and 40s. He contemplated suicide many times and only later in life was able to be free of his chronic sadness. James wondered over decades if life was worth living. He noticed the deep inequity that caused people to experience sadness. He felt the suffering and noticed it around him. And in a moment of inspiration and enlightenment, he spoke a simple yet profound truth. He did so when he was asked, "Is life worth living?" And he said, "Maybe. It depends on how you live it." You are the arbiter of life's worth. You. Keep him in mind and this quote as we talk about chosen family. Family is family in church or in prison. You get who you get and you don't get to pick them, says poet Casey Musgraves. And she's right. My good friend Don Arthur told me long ago that we had relatives and we had family, and it was important to know the difference. Don and his wife Irene became part of my family more than 40 years ago. Sometimes you do get to pick them, and we're always making choices. We might choose to adopt a child or marry becoming 2. Sometimes the marriage might mean children and an extended family that exceeds our imagination. We might choose to team up closely or to pull further apart. We might choose to walk away from a friendship or build one with people we never had imagined being with. This is the family that I was with on American Thanksgiving, Joan's extended family. Sometimes there's anger and resentment, and we might choose to pull away. Or maybe after being away, we might choose to begin to connect again. These are all true, and I bet one of these situations has happened to most of us. Choosing family is so common and so normal that even when we have been in relationship for years, there is always something new we discover about each other that we didn't know. There is a mystery about family because we never know them completely. And I believe this is wonderful because we have to choose family again and again, even the ones that are real relatives. Mysteries about family, personal growth, and insight, these not only change us, they change our family members too. And this reminds us, I think, that we have to be lifelong learners, not only of things, but of beings. It may be one of the best ways of keeping young as we all get older. You know, officially, the idea of chosen family emerged from the queer community in the late 80s and 90s. And you can understand why. If your biological family fails to support who you are, then you'll need to find family someplace else. You just have to do it. Unofficially, of course, the idea of chosen family has been around forever. Adoptive families are chosen families. An only child who finds brothers and sisters in her friends has chosen family. Your blood relatives might also be your chosen family if you claim them. But today I hope we remember the way that some of you did in Joys and Concerns and the way Zach did, to honor family however you determine it. I've done the same thing. When I was 5 years old, I remember walking downstairs and knocking on the door of the apartment where my aunt lived. We lived in a duplex, my family upstairs and Julie Walter and his brother, Charlie, downstairs. She was not my aunt. In fact, she was the sister of my step-grandmother, and we had no biological relationship at all. In the middle of the night, I would walk down the unheated stairs to her apartment when I was 6 years old, and I would knock on her door because I was afraid of the dark. She asked what I was doing there, and I said I wanted to go to safe sleep. And she took me to bed between her and my Uncle Walter. I don't know how many times I did that. My aunt, in quotes, was more patient than my mom. She taught me how to do many things. For example, she sat me down next to the sink and showed me how she washed dishes. It was the first thing I thought of when I read about Thich Nhat Hanh, washing the dishes as a meditation. When Thich Nhat Hanh read about the water and talked about the water, I thought of my aunt feeling the water and telling me how to make it just right. I saw and felt the flashes. I heard the clinking of the dishes and the presence of the sink and the smells and even the scum at the bottom, which she would squeeze dry before she threw away. Aunt Julie was part of my family. And Walter, my uncle, would take me into a magical closet under the stairs. And in the closet, there was a box of fruit-scented tobacco that I loved to smell. I just loved it. He had shiny tools in the closet, neatly arranged. And one day, Uncle Walter brought out the tools in an old wind-up alarm clock. And then he said, "Here, can you take this apart and put it back together again?" Then he watched me do it with a few important suggestions until the springs flew across the room and we both went, oops. But we did get it together and it did everything except ring. Uncle Walter was part of my family. Is life worth living? Maybe. It depends on how you live it. It depends on how you live it. My parents who lived upstairs were both victims of abuse as children. They were not in touch with their emotions. They did not laugh much and found it hard to play. I needed more. Is life worth living? Maybe. It depends on how you live it. Inside love, we are all different. We have our own ways of living and finding meaning as we do so. Our interests change over time. We love differently. We love different people. When our loved ones show us how they see the world, when they show us how they live in the world, we can pay attention so we can broaden our perspective. Maybe you could do it now for a minute with me. Susanne could play a little music in the background. Think about a loved one. Just think about them for a moment. Imagine them in your mind. And think about how they showed you how to do something. See their hands. Hear their voice. And even if they're gruff, take it in. This is grace. It's from the ancestors, from people who taught people. People who taught people who taught people who taught people. And now, lovingly let them go. Is life worth living? Maybe. It depends on how you live it, you and I, because we are the arbiters of life's worth. Family molds us. That whole quote from Casey Musgraves goes like this. Family is family in church or in prison. You get what you get and you don't get to pick them. They might smoke like chimneys, but give you their kidneys. Yeah, friends come in handy, but family is family. They own too much wicker and they drink too much liquor. You'd half wash your hands of them, but blood's always thicker. You might look just like them, but that doesn't mean you're like them, but you love them. Is life worth living? Maybe. It depends how we live it. You know, Joan has 7 siblings, my partner, and the first time I went to her house for dinner, I was chatty and polite, on my best behavior. It was at dinner time, and I made a big mistake. I took my eyes off the food. When I looked up to serve myself, several of the platters were completely empty. They looked at me as I looked at them and the food, and they laughed and said, "You have to be quick around here." And they are quick. They're quick to notice and quick to love, quick to remember, quick to accept, and they roll with the punches. In the 21st century, we have more choices about family than we'd like to admit. For example, if we let go of a feeling of entitlement that family members owe us love or money or gratitude because of our biological connection, if we let that go, we free ourselves up to find these things in other places with other people. For my own sake, I'm going to read that again. If we let go of expecting family members to give us love or money or gratitude because they're biologically connected, we free ourselves up to find these things in other places with other people. We're not required to stay married if love turns cruel. We're not required to seek revenge on behalf of our brother. Deepening relationships with our loved ones, chosen or genetic, takes us further. It's what keeps a relationship alive. Learning about our partner, learning about our parents, learning about our children, our friends, our loved ones, gives us an interest, a curiosity that can reveal qualities and experiences we long for. There's always some part of life or God inside us, inside them, that we can discover. And this keeps any relationship new and alive and endearing. And maybe this is what's so scary about love. It changes, even in the people we thought were so solid. Love allows us to reveal and sometimes live our dreams in ways that can first feel unsafe. And it's the inspiration for trying to become the people we want to become. Is life worth living? Maybe. It depends on how we live it. And here in the congregation, I've learned so much from many of you. You have become a chosen family to me, and I know to Joan. Recently, I wished Bruce Brackett Godspeed on the journey to the afterlife. What a huge and wonderful surprise as he died, the most beautiful death I have ever seen. And I have been in hospital rooms many, many times. At the very end, he blessed his family with the water from our water communion that we'll use next Sunday to bless ourselves. He splashed it everywhere, on the hospital bed, on people's faces. It was going everywhere. I think it helped him feel he was going to be remembered, was going to be held in our hearts, so he could leave for his next chosen family among the stars. Is life worth living? Maybe. It depends on how we live it. So how will you choose to do so? How will you use attention and thoughtfulness and your energy in the spiritual practice of family? Thank you for listening.
Now we come after. Thank you very much, Wayne, for that very enlightening talk on who we want to be in our hearts. Now we come to a time where we focus on the financial needs of our congregation. To those of you that are making monthly deposits and withdrawals, thank you. If you are usually made contributions to the baskets, please consider checks or e-transfers, as they are the easiest way to offer money to our congregation. In the chat, you will find a link that will take you to our donations page. And while the music is playing, you will have time to make any donations you do so wish. Thank you.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Thank you everyone for your generous donations and offerings. Our closing song for this service is hymn number 317 from Singing the Living Tradition, We Are Not Our Own. You'll find the lyrics in the chat. I invite you to join me in singing. We are not our own, earth forms us, human leaves on nature's growing vine, fruit of many generations, seeds of life divine. We are not alone, earth names us, past and present, peoples near and far, family and friends and strangers, show us who we are. Therefore let us make thanksgiving, and with justice willing and aware, give to earth and all things living liturgies of care. Let us be a house of welcome, living stone upholding living stone, gladly showing all our neighbors we are not our own.
Now, please join me as we extinguish our chalice and join our choir in our extinguishing song.
Although our chalice has been darkened, we hold the fire within our own hearts.
Today I leave you with this blessing. We are not and we are our own. So we have the chance to be able to make life worth living. I bless us that we make life worth living. Worth living every day. For those of you who do not wish to join a breakout room, thank you for joining us. Remember, at 12:30, we're going to be coming together to have our meeting, our general meeting, to be able to vote our new board into its existence. Everyone who remains on this Zoom channel, though, will be asked to join a breakout room. And today's question to consider in your breakout room is the question about, do you have a family that's not genetic? Do you have a chosen family? And how did that happen? If you're new to Neighborhood, just stay in the meeting by saying later to the request to join a breakout room, and either I or a staff member will be there to talk and respond to any questions you have about our community or about this service. And now we have a tradition of circling around and holding each other's hands. When we were in person, we would actually hold each other's hands, but instead, if you can, go to gallery view and unmute yourself. And together, let us say, Namaste, which means I salute the spirit within you.
on video.
Namaste.
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 Thank you all.
Namaste.
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 Namaste.